Test one, two. So I installed endeavourOS on my laptop and tried to install Omarchy, however it's said, and it's not working. And it has to do with the fact that endeavourOS uses DragCut or whatever it's called. I'm going to be looking this stuff up as I work through it. And I'm going to see if I can figure out a way to make it work. I know technically the answer would be go do a regular Arch install and install on top of that. However, I do know a lot of people like to use endeavourOS, and I like it because I feel that it does a good job of making a very easy installation. So I am going to see if I can make it work and maybe even do a PR if possible. But first, I got to find it in the code and see what's up. Let's see. Live chat. Why is chat disabled? For kids. There we go. All right, that's better. All right, let's find out. So let's dig through some of this code. So the error that I'm running into is this. It does not have the MK and init CPIO. That's part of the boot process. I'm not terribly familiar with it, so I'm going to be learning as I go. So let's see, 1 through 5. Okay, that's good. Thank you, DHIH, for making this easier. If we look here, we can see that there is step 5 out of 5 here, checking which package needs to be installed or rebuilt. So this actually helps with debugging. So if we come back over here, you can see this is 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5. So let's see, updates. Interesting. I got to figure out what part of here is failing. Restarting Mark services. ARM condition updates. Is this a different 1 out of 5? Okay. Proceed with installation. Check keys and keyring. Let's install Omarchy. I wonder if he has different 1 out of 5s. I might be looking in the wrong spot because this doesn't seem to correlate properly. All right, so we get to step through. So let's see how well their search works. I'm going to check for the specific string. Checking which. Start there. Nope. Okay. Post transaction hooks. If it's in one of these early ones here. Let's see. Pre-flight. There you are. Failed. Nope, that's not the error. Keys and keyring. So after AUR, well, let's start with guard then. We'll go step by step. Interesting. So he actually has in here a check for EOS, but something still doesn't seem to be working right. You know, I wonder if it's because I did a headless installation of EOS, it's actually throwing this off. It says must not be an Arch derivative distro. Interesting. But this is endeavourOS, so I wonder why it's giving me an issue. All right, I think I'm going to start by possibly reinstalling endeavourOS again. Let's see what that gives us, actually. Interesting. Show you guys what I'm typing. So I'm going to Etsy slash, yeah, and then of course it's not installed. There's nothing. Okay, that's probably why it's failing. It's not showing up anything in here for what release it is. And So I think that might be part of the problem because it's not sure what to do with it. So I have a feeling what it is it's missing a catch here because if it's blank, it's not showing that. It's very interesting. All right, let's test this out. I am going to redo my installation, do the installation of Plasma, and see if that makes a difference. Mm. So I had been trying to avoid doing a full installation of endeavourOS because it brings all its own packages and everything, which generally is fine, but I was trying to keep this more minimal. Unfortunately, I might have to do a regular Arch installation to achieve this. Which, yes, I know some people are going to say, oh, that's how you should do it. Sure, yeah, I know, but I also like to make things easier when I can. And endeavourOS makes things easy, which is nice. So we will see how it goes as soon as this loads. Oh, it's showing up as a second display. Uh, So what I'm currently running through is, you can't see it unfortunately on the other side. I can bring it up actually. Start the installer. Online. So generally what I'm working on is I have a laptop that I want to set up. It's older, and so one of the main things I wanted to do was see how well this take on Arch, if you will, runs on my older laptop. Because I was running the hide, if that's how you say it, pre-configured Hyperland setup, and it ran okay. But I know they have a lot in it. It's a heavier and it does a lot of deeper customization. So I wanted to see how much you did and see if it did any better or worse. All right, so we get to do another install. Yes. Last time I did headless and that didn't work. So this time I'm going to do that. see. Uh, sure, we'll do all the things. Why not? Okay. And install. Install now. And now we wait. So I'm going to go poke around in some of the code a little bit. See how that's going. This over here. All right, so he actually does, like I said, had a check for the EOS release, Garuda, Manjaro, Catchy, etc. And apparently he does not want or is not supporting it running on there. It's supposed to actually spit out a check, but this file right here did not catch because it's blank. So maybe I should do a PR for that. Yeah, actually I should do a PR for that. Let me write that down. So I'm currently waiting for it to install, and I'm writing some notes for the installation. So let me just find out where I put that. Right. So in the guard.sh, we need to add a check for if the slash etsy slash arch release is blank, catch it there and handle that exception. So not what I originally planned to do, but apparently I will work on a PR for this to tighten this up a little bit. But I'm gonna finish this installation of Arch of endeavourOS, run it again, and see if it catches it after that. And then we'll see where we go from there. I'm currently sitting at 12%, so it's going to take a little while. If anyone has any questions while you're hanging out, feel free. I will be happy to answer them. Why does this not have a chat? Let's chat. Hopefully you guys are able to chat. See how it goes. All right, so we're still installing. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, it does seem to me, well, I just can't do it on my own. Okay, well, it's good to know at least it's still working. All right, so we can dig through some other code while we wait. I do find it interesting that since it's not supposed to do that, but it fell through, we're gonna walk through the steps. So it goes guard, it goes AUR, which should have been fine, and then pre-flight, then presentation, migrations. Let's say that all passed. Let's install Omarchy, identification. So let's config, identification. Okay, full name, full email. So I got this far. Then after identification is config. Config, we come in here. Config, default, bash, Bane. System D. Set Cloudflare as primary. Interesting. Okay. So this actually does a lot more than just simply set up an environment. He's actually configuring like the system. He's setting a DNS. He's setting a couple other things. Solve problem with flakiness with SSH, which actually is, as long as you're okay with his defaults, is pretty cool, because what that means is he's taking the time to pick through all the little things. So little issues you'd maybe run into hopefully would be addressed. On the flip side, since now it's configured, maybe it would introduce an issue somewhere else if you're doing something specific, but that's all to kind of be seen. So let's see, git config, branch commit status true. So he's configuring your GitHub when you log in, when you give that information there, which is nice. It's convenient. Key, how much username, email. Okay, so that was config.sh. Then we have detect keyboard layout. Take into account for international, which is nice. Keep going. Fix F keys, network. Let's see what he does in network. Install IWD explicitly if there wasn't included an Arch install. This can happen. Use Ethernet. Look from needed. Just the name. I'm actually not familiar with IWD specifically, so I'll have to look into that. Let's see. Then after network, we have power SH. Setting the performance profile can make a big difference. Power profile. So he's installing a power profile handler, which is interesting. I wonder if you already have one, if it causes a conflict. Computer runs on battery. Okay, so it's checking for battery or for power outlet and then setting it to performance. And then if it does run on battery, it does balanced. He really went in detail with this, which is nice. Let's see, time zone. Okay, time zone. Login. I assume this is your user creation. Grab already configured. Backup kernel, add splash, file, seamless login. Interesting. He's got what looks like some C code. Yeah, .c. Interesting. He's got C code coming in here doing stuff. So here's the fun part. Running random scripts off the internet like this is actually technically a very dangerous thing to do and is generally not advised. For someone like DHH, I wouldn't be too worried. I would feel comfortable running that, but you do have to be careful with just running random stuff, because if you see, not only does he have a bunch of scripts that run, but even within the scripts, he has direct code that then literally makes another C file and then runs that C file on your computer. So when you give them access, they can do anything they want if you didn't read the code. Granted, nice part about open source is you can actually look at it and read it and check these things if you take the time. All right, so that's login. NVIDIA. In this case, I don't think an NVIDIA would be relevant for my laptop. Would be for my desktop, though. Goes through the NVIDIA check. And then, yeah, okay, that's fine. Come down here, terminal tools, terminal.sh. So this is now development. Terminal.sh. So we go through, we get wget, curl, unzip, inet utils, impala, fd, eza, fs, fzf, ripgrep. Most of these I recognize, some I don't. TLDR is nice. Alacrity. Yeah, he used the Alacrity terminal in this one, I think. I think I would change that out for Ghosty. I'm just a fan of Ghosty, personally. And actually, so just on Ghosty, part of my like for Ghosty is that the creator himself I found to be very, from what I know of him, very cool guy, builds very cool stuff, has done a lot of nice stuff. Like he wrote Ghosty and Zig, and then he gave, I think he pledged like $300,000 or something to the Zig Foundation. So he basically made a project in a language that, to my knowledge, didn't have many projects, like full production out there projects written in Zig. I think there might be Tiger Beetle might be written in Zig. Let me check that real quick. Is Tiger Beetle written? Yeah, Tiger Beetle's written in Zig. So Tiger Beetle and Ghosty are the only two applications out in the wild that I am aware of that are written in Zig. He also started HashiCorp. If you've done anything in the DevOps infrastructure space, you're familiar with at least some of the HashiCorp products. They do Terraform, Packer, and a couple others. So they do some really cool stuff. And he built a lot of that stuff. Let's see. Terminal development. What do we got in here? Okay, Cargo, Clang, LLVM. Let's see. GitHub CLI. LazyGit I've heard a lot about. I haven't used LazyGit, but maybe I'll give it a try on this one. Lazy Docker 2 is another one that I'm aware of, but I haven't used. Let's see. Development NVim. Interesting. So why does he have a separate NVim? So he does... All right, we install NVim and Lua Rocks and Tree Sitter. And then we're configuring. So he deletes the config, clones LazyVim starter. Let me double check this, but I think LazyVim is what I use too. Okay, that's the starter. Okay, yeah, I use something slightly different. And then copy config, da da da, da 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 da. All right, cool. So he installs and configures NeoVim. And then, of course, Ruby. If you guys happen to not know this for some reason, DHH made the Ruby on Rails framework like 20 years ago or whatever it was, and he's been maintaining it ever since. And there was a time in ye olden days for the young ones here where Ruby on Rails was the hot framework. Like everyone's all about React now. Ruby on Rails used to be like that. Everyone wanted a Ruby on Rails developer. I actually almost had a chance to go to Amazon as a Ruby on Rails developer, but I ended up taking a different path. Which sometimes I wonder if I should have gone, because the more I've looked into Ruby on Rails, it's actually pretty cool. But I know it's kind of fallen out of fashion. Okay, and then we have in here, we have Docker enables it, stamp the user, configuring, da da da, basic stuff. Firewall. Now it's going to be interesting is I have a firewall installed through the, oh, it's done. Start that. Through the endeavourOS installation. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's a conflict with that. But let's come over here and hide that. All right, endeavourOS. Let's get you started. Come on, laptop, you can do it. I actually did pick up a V-Link. I'm probably going to install this on there as well. That I know is tested. And I'm also going to have to do probably vanilla Arch install on there, which is fine. I just have to find the time to do that. I had a little time today, so figured I'd just try out streaming, see if any of you guys hop on. Oh, oops. Let me accidentally rebooted back into my live USB. So let me kill this. And I'll bring it back. Let's get this started back up. I'm still getting used to this whole streaming setup. So hopefully everything's working all right out there. Let's see. I want to Unify outputs. There we go. All right, cool. So now what we're gonna do is open up console. wget q0 h /install bash. Let's see how it goes. Oh, okay, that is a 0. That's a O, not a 0. All right, let's see if it catches it again. If it doesn't. Actually, let me see. Cat slash Etsy slash arch release. Oh, it's blank again. Interesting. It's not picking it up. However, this time it did catch it. Okay. So there's something that when you do a headless installation of endeavourOS, it actually fails. So when you do a headless installation of endeavourOS, the script does not pick up the fact that it's endeavourOS. But when you do a regular installation, like with the KDE Plasma, it will pick it up and it will give you this error right here. Interesting. All right. Looks like I'm going to have to install again and make my own check. Because let's see. Console. Why is it not picking that up? Very interesting. There's something that happens when it's headless that it's not putting something in the right place. So this is back, and let's go check out that guard script again. So now it's actually catching in the guard script like it's supposed to be. So it's coming in here. Must be an Arch distro. Arch release or abort vanilla. Or marker in. Okay, I think I see what it is. So if we do console again and we go cat slash Etsy slash EOS. Interesting. Looking for EOS release. There doesn't appear to be an EOS release. Very interesting. But there is a Arch release, but it's blank. What's it picking up then? This has got me curious now to see what it's actually picking up, because it's checking for slash Etsy slash EOS release, which it should be seeing, but it's not. So let's try this. Cat. Let's try all of them. Catchy. No. Garuda. Nope. Manjaro. Nope. Very curious. Very curious. Because it's looking for. Yeah, I'll pull this back up again. It's looking for this Arch release here, but it's also checking for this, but this file doesn't exist, so it shouldn't catch this either. Let's see. This is where you learn stuff. I've always learned the most stuff when I have been trying to debug. Install requires fresh plus vanilla OS. Gum command not found. Okay, so actually if I install gum, there is a way to continue past it. See what happens. All right. Proceed anyway. Yes. Let's see what happens. I have a feeling I'm still going to run into the issue I had before with drag cut. But we'll find out. So I have been planning on doing my own Hyperland setup and everything, but to be honest, I am just very curious about DHHs, and I think a lot of people are, so I figured it'd be fun to cover. However, as always, run into issues. I really wish this laptop was faster. Granted, to its credit, this laptop is over 10 years old, and it's handling pretty well. Do. Still curious, since the EOS doesn't exist, what's it even catching to make it realize it's not a vanilla arch? I'm gonna have to spend some time with the script. Yeah, like I said, I think I still am gonna run into that issue I had before, but since I'm already this far in, I figured I might as well give it a shot and see what happens. I think if this doesn't work, what I'll end up doing is probably doing a step-by-step guide on doing an Arch install in preparation for Omarchy. I don't know if I'll make it one video or two videos. We'll see. Installing all the stuff, yada yada. Yeah, I have a lot of while that's installing, I'll pull this up real quick. I have a ton of respect for what he's done with this because not only did he release it, it's not like he just released his dot files. He created a manual for it so that you can actually see what's going on, understand it. He even gives you the steps for doing the Arch installation. which, I'll probably go follow just to see how well it's documented and stuff. Now, the nice part is normally with Arch, you got to do a bunch of configuration afterwards, installing your firewall, configuring your firewall, networking, blah, 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 blah. But all of his scripts handle a lot of that. So let me see if he has it in the manual. No, he didn't cover it there, but you can see it when you come in here. I think it was the configuration. So he sets up your network, your logins, your identifications, fixing F keys, keyboard layout, all this stuff, time zones, power profiles. This is all stuff you'd have to do manually, but it's rolled up nicely. So he really has made this very approachable, even to someone who isn't terribly familiar with Arch. Most people can probably handle download the ISO, put it on a USB stick, you know, run a few commands, run install, set up some stuff. You must set up disk encryption to use. Oh, interesting. I've actually been skipping disk encryption on some of my devices, especially older devices, because I don't keep anything sensitive on there, and disk encryption while on modern devices might be a pretty trivial amount of overhead. On an older device, it can make a difference on your performance. So, interesting. This encryption setup won't allow you to enter the password from a Bluetooth keyboard at startup. Okay, so this is just for starting. So you use a wired keyboard or something with a dongle. I mean, I get that he requires disk encryption. Like, really, you should do that. That is the good thing to do. I just, like I said, so for instance, for an example, the laptop I'm currently trying to set this up on is for my kid, and he's literally just gonna have like some educational games on there, and that's kind of it. So, disk encryption not required. Here we go. Yep. Okay. So this is the same error I hit last time. This has to do with the fact that when you use the track cut that endeavourOS uses, it does not create this file, and it's specifically looking for this file. But the nice part is I can actually scroll through the log now. So let me see. How far did we get? The All right, so we come through here, check keys. Let's come in. It's installing packages. Checking keys and keyring. Checking again, more installations. Then we come down here. Loading system, updating. I still have to find where in his script this is coming up. Let me see if I can find it. Let me try searching again. MK init cpio config. MK init cpio config. It may not be called out specifically, but it is throwing an error. Let's see. see if we can find it. This is the guard pre-fight. Okay, so come in here. Installing Plymouth. All right, let's see if we can find Plymouth. Search in issues. I want to search in the code. Okay. It would probably help to. All right, unfortunately, I am out of time. I have to go. For the few people who tuned in, thanks for checking